Well, my friends, it is a wild start to the weekend. Tropical storm Ophelia is making her mark on Jersey. Good morning, friends. It is the weekend. Actually, our weekend kind of started yesterday. Doug was off, I was off. So we had all these big plans. We were going to go pick pears. And then this weekend, with all this horrific weather we're getting, I was going to can pears all weekend. So just to be sure, I called the pick place that we go to. You've seen us go there before to pick peaches and apples and all that. They're like, oh, pears are done. I'm like, excuse me? They're like, yeah, we had a really small harvest this year and they're done. Yeah. So I have some leads where I can get some pears in bulk. I just really like to go pick them. But it is what it is. But we did not get any pears yesterday. We should have gone. I should have sent Doug to get some pears somewhere so I could can all weekend, but I didn't. You know what? It is what it is. So we've got other plans. I mean, we are stuck in the house. Like I said, it is nasty here. The rain has let up a little bit. But one great thing was we did not have to go and let the chickens out this morning because about 2 months ago, Doug bought an automatic door for the coop. We just haven't installed it. He installed it yesterday. And last night when we went to make sure they went to bed and everything and make sure the door shut, we changed out all the waterers because it's not hot. It's actually very chilly. So we were able to put nice fresh water in the waterers last night. So it's still fresh for today. Like it didn't get, it's not hot or anything. So we did not have to go out there this morning in the horrific weather. Because I mean, it is like crazy out there. So that was really nice. And I checked on the cameras. Everybody's, out doing their thing. I mean, they're all hiding underneath, but yeah, so thumbs up on that automatic door right now. What else? So it is the day to stay in bed. It is, it's early, but it's just a day to stay cuddled in bed. I have got my favorite 2 big crazy pajamas on. These pajamas I will never ever get rid of. I don't care if they are threadbare. These were the last gift my mother bought for me before she passed away. They are like way too big. They're like a size large. They're huge on me. The pants, like, I have to be careful because they literally like fall down. But I love them and they're cozy and I will never ever get rid of them. So I thought it was a great morning to throw those on. I told Doug, I'm like, I will go down and make coffee and tea. Stay cuddled in bed, and you know what? I'll come back, and we can just sit in bed and do our morning prayers in bed and play games on our phone and all that stuff, because it's just that kind of morning, and it feels good. Once in a while, you just need that. Then when we get up, we're going to have breakfast. And then the other day, and I started filming it and just didn't finish. The other day, I decluttered the kitchen cabinets and drawers, most of them. I didn't do the upper cabinets, but I did all the lower cabinets and drawers, and oh, what a good feeling. What a good feeling. But today I want to do the dining room. Now, we don't have a lot in our dining room. Here, I'll show you. Honestly, the only places for crap to lurk is in these 3 drawers and 2 doors. I don't know why my phone is doing this all of a sudden. I'm going to have to Google it. So I need to clean those out because that top drawer is supposed to be silverware. And I'm going to be honest with you, folks. Look at that. There's silverware in there. It's just under it. So, but that's really the only place for things to catch. I've got a pile that has to go out in the mail here. I have ginger ale for pinochle because that's my brother's favorite drink. A couple things on the table I just need to straighten up, and that's fine. So it should not take me longer than 20 minutes to do that. The living room, there's nothing to declutter in the living room. Like, we don't have any, like, you know, hidey hole places in the living room, except these drawers, but they don't need to be decluttered. This is like my office drawer. I've got tape and a stapler in there. This is like the bill drawer, and this is thank you notes and note cards, and that's all fine. So not a whole lot to do here. I really like to go and declutter kind of often because stuff just builds. Clutter builds. And then you realize, why was I saving this? So that's the plan for today. Another project I want to work on is taking down all the blue and yellow and going back to red for the fall. And then I go, or maroon for the fall. Then I go to red for the Christmas season. Then I go back to maroon for the winter. And then switch to the blue again in the spring. So that's another thing I want to do today, is to get all that done. I know I'm going to have to probably iron all the curtains. They're washed before they're put away, but, you know, they're put away, they're stored, so they'll probably need to be ironed. So that's all the plans for today. Plus, I need to make a loaf of bread. And guess what, my friends? I do not have a lot of flour. So I am going to be milling some flour to make bread. I will definitely show you that, bring you along for that. Yeah, so just a lot of little stuff today, and see what happens. So it's probably going to be pretty boring this weekend, but come along and we will see. Okay, our lazy butts are finally up and moving. You know what? It felt good. Once in a while, it just feels good. We are going nowhere today, so I just have on the two biggest clothes I could find because it's just comfy and cozy. So we are going to get started on our day. Doug's going to start cooking bacon. I'm going to start working in the dining room and decluttering some of those drawers. So that's excitement, friends. So most of you know that I loosely follow the Fly Lady method. I kind of made it my own. And this week is zone 2, the kitchen. So why am I working in the dining room? Well, because it is Saturday and declutter. Since I already did most of the kitchen, I figure I would move on to the dining room and start working on that. Next week is all upstairs. Now this I need to take off because honestly, I don't do anything in those rooms anymore. That's their responsibility. They're adults, but this is how long I've been working, working the Fly Lady system. But like I said, I've made it my own. So I am going to go declutter. We are not doing any coop maintenance today in this weather. We actually kind of did that yesterday. And just catch up. So let's go in the dining room and get to work. The first thing I like to do when I declutter something that's this bad is take everything out of the drawer, because you can't organize clutter. So we are getting everything out. Look, I bought all these for a project that I was supposed to do at the beginning of summer. Totally forgot about it. So now maybe it'll be a winter project. Yeah, they don't need to be in there. So I am just going to work on emptying this drawer, then we'll get started. Okay, I'm going to leave the silverware in there because that's fine. That doesn't need to be decluttered because that's where that belongs. I have this empty one here. I don't know if you can see it. And that's where I like to keep our playing cards, because generally when we play pinochle and poker, we do play in this room. So I keep them in here. Now, I'm thinking that maybe I'm going to move them. I'm thinking that maybe I'll move them out into the family room in the ottoman. You know, let me go think about that. Okay, so this is our ottoman, and we've got games. You can see our dominoes, our Wordle game, our video games. We have like this little mini Atari, and we have a little mini Nintendo blanket. And we have a lot of DVDs in here. And I have the DVDs in here instead of in those cabinets because I had one little baby who loved to pull them all out of those cabinets. But I am thinking I might take them out, put them back in there, and have more room in here for the cards and the games that we use more often. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. See, this is what happens. One thing rolls into another. So I decided to definitely put all the games and cards and stuff in the other room. Now I'm just going through and figuring out what stays and what goes. And it's amazing. Almost everything went. There wasn't a whole lot to keep in there. Okay, this drawer is done. I only have in here what needs to be in there. Some serving things, the silverware for the dining room, some more serving things, the remotes for the candles, and our coasters that we use when we play pinochle. So now we're going to go on to this drawer. This is some of Doug's wine stuff, like his aerator, his corkscrew, and some linens. So we're just going to straighten out this drawer. Boom, 2 minutes, all done. I'm going to take this tablecloth out. This is more of a spring tablecloth to me. So I'm going to put this in my linen bin down on my shelves in the basement and save that till next spring. Okay, not gonna lie, this bottom drawer is the bane of my existence. I start off so good in January. See these envelopes? January, February. I start off so good, putting all my receipts for YouTube, for everything in these envelopes. So when tax time comes, I'm ready. Well, somewhere around April, this happens. Yeah, so this one's going to take me a little bit longer, friends, but it's going to get done. Okay, I cried, I whined, but you know what? I didn't cry. I really didn't cry. I whined, I complained, but I did it. All my receipts are all caught up in the envelopes where they need to be. It took me about 15 minutes, but it is done. And now I can start putting everything back where it needs to go. So I had these beeswax candles that I made with a wood wick, and you can see it did not burn very nicely, and I know why now. I should have made it either a double or triple wick so it would have burned more evenly because of the size and the volume of it. So I think I'm just going to keep this out, and I'm going to melt this wax down and reuse it. I am certainly not going to waste all of that beeswax. I'm going to melt it down and reuse it into another candle. I also have another one that I made the same way, so that's going to probably do the same thing, so we'll see. This is all of our charging cords, smart plugs. This is all different cords for different things, and everything in here has a purpose. We know that. I've been through that before, so that's all good. We know exactly where to go when we need a charging cord. In this drawer, I just kind of keep, like I said, my candles in. These are just plain unscented candles from IKEA that I like to burn. We don't burn any scents in our house, but I love to have candles burning. And these are some wax melts that I made with coconut oil and beeswax and essential oils. So they go down in here. I'm actually going to use some of those in a little bit when I put out my fall decos. And here's another, I can clean that jar out too. And now this one burned really nice, as you can see, because I used one wick in a nice narrow jar. So you live and learn. You have to take a chance. You have to try things. And Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but you always learn from that experience. So these drawers are officially my screen protectors. They go in the drawer with all the phone accessories. So this is officially done. Now I just still need to put like this stuff away. I had a cookbook. Sandy sent me the Spam cookbook and I was reading it the other night and then just tossed it in a drawer instead of putting it away where it should have been. So, yep, that's what we have to do. This stuff is actually goes to Kyle and Ariel. That's from the wedding. So yeah, that's stuff I need to review on my channel. We're getting there, friends. You know, it's not always perfect. Just because what you see on some people's YouTube videos doesn't always mean it looks like that. Nope. It's so easy to make stuff up for the camera. And that's why I like to show you sometimes that it's not always perfection. We try to make it, I don't go for perfect because perfect is overrated. I just go for what makes me comfortable. I always question, like I have a couple friends who are like, my kitchen floor is so clean you can eat off of it. Not mine. And guess what? You don't have to eat off of it because we have plates. So yeah, I don't go for that perfection. Do I like it neat? Do I like it clean? Absolutely. But it's not always perfect. So don't think you have to be perfect. Don't think it has to be Pinterest or Instagram perfect because that's all staged, my friends. It's all staged. You get raw and real life here. Yes. So, you know, bag of flour sitting on the dining room table. But I'm going to go finish putting this stuff away. It all has a home. And then I'm almost done the dining room. Okay, much better. I took out all of the series DVDs, like all of my Downton Abbey, all of my Seinfeld. And I took out all of the holiday DVDs and I put those over in there. And just kept regular DVDs in here and all our games and everything. That blanket's eventually going to go, but for now I just put it back in there. So I feel like I've accomplished something. Okay, taking a break in the decluttering to eat some brunch. And it's brunch because it's late. So I have an omelet here. I have a 1/4 ounce of raw milk cheddar cheese inside. I have a 1/2 piece of Canadian bacon and a bunch of sauteed green pepper. I've got some homemade bacon, and this is homemade bread from Thursday night that we just toasted up and threw a little bit of butter on. Okay, next up on the agenda is changing out the kitchen from the blue to the red. So first thing is vacuuming this rug up and rolling it up until next summer. Actually, we'll probably replace this next summer. It was a cheap rug from, I forget where, the home store maybe? I don't remember. It was not expensive at all. It's been through 2 or 3 summers and it's starting to show its wear. Okay, you know what I tell myself? It always looks worse before it looks better. Right? Right. So we are going to give this floor a really, really good cleaning since the rug is up. And just wipe everything down and get it reset. I feel like we have deja vu. Remember, I think it was last year when I was putting up curtains in the dining room and I couldn't find them. Now I can't find the kitchen curtains. Found the ones for the sliding glass door, found the ones for the family room, found the old ones for the sliding glass door, but cannot find the valances. I know they're in this house. We have ripped it apart and still can't find it. I am happy to report I found the curtains. I looked up in the attic 3 times. Doug looked down in the basement twice. And I said, you know what? Let me just go down in the basement and look. Let's go again. So we went down. 45 seconds. I put my hands on them. I was so excited to find them. So yay, yay. I think we locked the dog down in the basement. So yes, now we just have to get them ironed. And we did lock the dog down in the basement. There's my handsome guys. We just have to get them ironed and get them up. And it's coming along. Oh, sorry. It's coming along. So happy about that. It is 60 degrees outside. We have doors and windows open. It's a little chilly in here, but I'm not going to complain. What time is it? Almost 4 o'clock. Andrew has to go to church tonight and tomorrow morning for stuff. So I'm trying to plan dinner. We are so full from brunch still. I'm not real hungry. I was talking to Adam. They ran in the rain this morning. They did a half marathon. So they ran 13.1 miles this morning and then went out to brunch. So he said it was awesome. Yeah, okay, bud. He did pretty well. He kept like a 6:30 pace, so not horrible. A hell of a lot better than I could do. So anyway, I'm just so excited now. I am. Waiting for my tablecloth to come out of the dryer or washer. And then go in the dryer and just starting to put everything together. Okay, the honey nut squash is ready to go in the oven. I just halved it, scooped out all the seeds. I put a teaspoon of butter in each half, salt, pepper, and a little bit of cinnamon. That goes in at 425 for about 35-40 minutes until it's nice and tender. And it goes up. Unlike a butternut squash when you roast it, it goes just in like this. And we're going to grill a couple steaks if we get a break in the rain. If not, I'll do them in the cast iron. Saute up some mushrooms and maybe some eggplant. Sounds like a great dinner. I am still, you can see, working on just trying to get everything together. Like, this is my normal stuff that'll go out in January after Christmas, but right now I have all my fall stuff up, changing out the curtains. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, sitting down to have some dinner. Very simple dinner tonight. I was going to do a Caesar salad along with it for a nice green vegetable, but Doug said nope, because he wasn't hungry enough for a salad, and honestly, neither am I. So we've got a 4-ounce sirloin steak with sauteed mushrooms, and we also have some, what's it called? Butternut? No, not butternut squash. Honey nut squash. And you saw how I prepared it. And then when it was done, I put a 1/4 teaspoon of pure maple syrup over top. So there is our little dinner tonight. Okay, we are done. I've got my fall stuff in my hutch, all my red back in the kitchen. And I wasn't going to do the rest of the fall stuff, but I did. So not a fall decoration there. So I just put a few little things out. I have to change the bands on the candles. I just don't know what I want to do yet. That, and in the dining room, let's switch around here. Oh, switched out a couple cookbooks, put my canning cookbooks away because that's pretty much done. Brought out some autumn cookbooks. And then in the dining room, my little tier tray. Just little pumpkins, some stuff on my ladder shelf, a few little things in the living room, box of yard sale stuff for my brother, little pumpkins, and then out here, I have to get my easel back from my sister. That belongs on a black wrought iron easel, but she borrowed it for the wedding. I have to get it back. And my little glowy pumpkin. So just a few little things to bring fall in. Got anything to say?
Good night, sweetheart.
So yes, we are hitting the hay. I will probably, it's too early to go to sleep, but we're just going to go up, do a little reading, maybe watch a little TV, and I'm going to work on my menu for October. So that's the plan. I will be back with you guys tomorrow. Good morning, my friends. It is Sunday morning. Mass is over. Hair's up. Comfy clothes are on. Yep, same ones I had on yesterday. And we are making brunch. I'm going to have cream chip beef over potatoes for brunch. I was really trying to use what is in the freezer and pantry. And after brunch, I got to get really started here because I've got a lot of kitchen work to do today. I need to make bread. I need to make pasta. I keep looking down at my potatoes. I need to make dog biscuits. So a lot of kitchen work I'll bring you along for. And normally I have my Sundays planned because the Phillies usually play in the middle of the day on Sunday. And I put it on my iPad and I watch that while I'm doing all my cooking and baking. But they moved the game until 6 o'clock tonight instead of 1 o'clock because of our horrific weather here. So we are still getting the rain and the wind and all that from the outer bands of Hurricane or Tropical Storm Ophelia. So another yucky day. Another day we were really glad we had that automatic door installed because we didn't have to go out there this morning. So anyway, let me get started on brunch and I'll show it to you when it's done. And there's breakfast. Cream chip beef over potatoes. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is get started on the pasta. Then that way the machine can work while I'm doing other things. Hopefully I have enough flour in here. I do have a little more in the basement, but we got to get that. So I'm just going to, I zeroed it out. I'm going to add 400 grams of flour. Yeah, I'm going to need my other flour. This is going to make approximately 1 pound of pasta. Oops. Okay, let me get more flour. Okay, got smart and put an apron on. Okay, so now there is 400 grams of flour in here. There's a scale on there. I don't know if you can see that. That's how I know how much flour is in there. The next thing we're going to do is put the lid on. I'm going to choose the pasta setting because that will make it rest a little bit. And then we're going to add our liquid. Now I have learned, it says 132 grams of or milliliters of liquid. I've learned that I need 142. So I like to put an egg in my pasta. So I'm going to add an egg. And then I'll add enough water to make up the difference. My egg is 42 grams, or milliliters. Oh my goodness, milliliters. So we're just gonna add enough water to bring it up to 142. It took some trial and error for me to figure out how much because, you know, it's all different. And then I'm just going to take a fork. I should have beat the egg before I put the water in. That's normally what I do, but oh well, so be it. I'm just going to beat that up the best I can in here. It'll get mixed in the process. This is not the best angle, I know, but you've seen me make pasta before. I have a whole video on it. Then I'm going to hit the start and just start adding in my liquid in the little dispenser. And then it's going to go all by itself. It's going to mix, and then it's going to rest, and then it'll start extruding it out. So that's that. Now while that's going, I have some time to go and what are we going to do? I think we shall start on the dog treats. Okay, our pasta is starting to extrude, so I put the dog treats on hold for a second, and I might as well just finish this up. I have to grind flour for the dog treats too. I wasn't even thinking, so I might as well just finish this task. Then we'll get to grinding the flour for the bread and the dog treats. And then we'll move on from there. I also have a bunch of peppers I need to process today too, if possible. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us. And I really, really, really want to go to Costco, but I don't know if that's going to make it. So there is our pasta. It made 1.1 pounds. I'm just gonna cover it and toss it in the fridge. Okay, first thing we need to do is set up our machine. I plugged it in. We should probably wait and plug it in at the end, but I plug it in. Pull the hopper out and take the lid off. This is not a good angle. All my camera guys are busy doing homework and schoolwork and all that fun stuff, so I'm on my own. There we go. So, take this off. First time you get it, you should take some oil, grease, lard, something, and put it around the seal to make it easier. Then this is your little catch-all cup. This fits right on here. You catches all your fine grains so that it doesn't spray all over the place. And then you just put this right back on. Then you take off the top. And, oop, I left it in here. In here is this little ring. This little ring fits right on the top. That is going to extend your hopper so you can do like 11, 12 cups of grains if that's, you know, if you're grinding a lot of flour. Now I will tell you, with fresh ground flour, it does not last. It is not processed. It will not last. It will go rancid very quickly. So I only try to grind what I'm going to use in the next day or two. And whatever I don't use, I put immediately in the freezer or refrigerator. I like to put it in the freezer because it's not processed at all. There's nothing in it but the wheat. So it will go bad. Put it in correctly. And then there's two little things down here. You can't really see them. It says yes and no. If you don't have it pushed in enough, you're not going to see the word yes. So you want to make sure you can see the word yes. Then we're going to put our grains in here. We're going to select high or low, and we're going to select finer or coarser. And we are going to make some flour. So let's do that. Okay, so I have about 8 cups of wheat berries. These are hard white wheat berries. There's all different kinds. This is most like your all-purpose flour. There's hard red. There's soft white wheat. It depends on what you're using it for. The soft ones are more of a pastry flour. So I'm just going to add this to the top of my grain mill. Like I said, there's about 8 cups. And then we're going to put the lid on. The top button, whoops, is the motor speed. I pretty much always keep it all the way to the left on high. Here, let me see here. Sorry about all this camera adjusting. And then this is your coarseness. Right now it's off. And I want a fine flour. So I'm going to turn it to fine. And I'm going to tell you it's going to get really noisy really fast. Okay, here we go. Okay, that is done. Now the moment of truth. We're going to pull this out. Open her up. And there we have it, my friends. Beautiful flour. Benefits of milling your own flour: more nutritious because it doesn't sit. Because once wheat is milled, it does not last very long, and all the nutrients are gone out of it with the processes they do to keep it from going bad. So definitely more nutritious, economical, and also just great for long-term storage. Because we're using for the bread, it's called The Essential Homegrown Flour Book by Sue Becker. I use this because I'm still not really good at converting. You do need more home ground flour than you need commercial flour in recipes, generally about a 1/4 cup more, just because this is a fluffier, finer flour because you are milling it fresh. You know, it doesn't sit for weeks. It doesn't break down, things like that. So you generally need a little bit more. So I try to get most of my recipes out of this book. I've been practicing and tweaking a little bit, but we'll see. So let's get started on this bread. Okay, in our bowl, we have 1½ cups of hot water. It's about 130 degrees. Then we're gonna add 1/3 cup of oil. I'm using avocado oil. Oh, and this is gonna make 2 nice size loaves. Our oil. Then we're gonna add 1/3 cup of honey. Trying to keep this as unrefined as possible. That's why I'm using honey and not sugar. And my honey is super duper local. It is from my neighbor just 2 streets over, which I think is pretty darn cool. If you measure your oil before you measure your honey, the honey doesn't stick in the measuring cup quite as bad. Then we're going to do 2 teaspoons of salt. And I am going to add in an egg. An egg is optional, but I think it makes for a richer dough. And Lord knows we've got eggs around here. Now we're going to add 3 cups of flour. And we're gonna let this mix until a thick batter forms. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is add a tablespoon of instant yeast. We're gonna sprinkle it right over. Now, instant yeast can be added right to your dry goods. You don't have to add it to the liquid and let it proof. You just have to make sure it's, you know, not old, because you're not proving it first, but instant yeast can be added right to your dry goods. So we're gonna sprinkle that over. We're gonna let the mixer go again, and then we're gonna add more flour, probably about another cup, 1.5 cups worth, but I'm gonna add it 1/2 cup at a time until I find that nice dough consistency. Okay, I think this is starting to look good, so I'm just gonna let it mix for another minute. Then I'm gonna turn it up a little bit and let it knead for about 5 minutes. Okay, this is done kneading. I'm just going to cover it and put it to rise for about an hour until it's doubled. It is a really soft dough, so I'm hoping it's not too sticky when it comes time to divide and shape, but we'll see. So for now, we're just gonna, oh no, it should be okay. We're just gonna let it rise about an hour or so. Just kind of, after an hour, check on it and make sure it's doubled. Okay, I'll just go through this real quick because I have a whole video on making the dog biscuits. So we've got 2¼ cup of the fresh ground flour in here. I may need to add more, I'm not sure. 1/2 cup of dry milk powder. Then we need 1 egg. 1/2 cup of oil. This is just an olive oil that I had laying around. Then half a cup of beef broth. You can either just use beef broth or you can use some bouillon that's been dissolved in hot water, whatever you choose. And then 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. And we are just gonna mix those all together. Once they're mixed together, get your hands in there and knead it for about 2 minutes until it all comes together in a nice ball. If it feels too wet, you can add a little more flour. If it feels too dry, you can add a little more beef bouillon or even just water. This actually feels pretty darn good. Yeah, this is good. So I'm just gonna knead this. I'm gonna put it out on the counter to knead it because it's easier. And I'm just gonna knead it for about 2 minutes. Then we're gonna roll it out, cut it, bake it, and they will be done. We are moving right along here today, my friends, moving right along.
System every source, but just
Okay, it's been an hour for our dough and it definitely doubled. It's looking wonderful. So I am going to weigh it out and divide it in half. Because like I did say, this does make 2 loaves. Let's see here. So 554 grams each loaf. And that's definitely about right. Oh. Because the recipe says it makes 2 500-gram loaves. That's close. It does not have to be perfect. Oh, I'm not even in the shot. It does not have to be perfect, but I try to get it as close as I can, just so we get good baking. Okay, there we go. I just floured my counter a little bit. I'm gonna press it out a little bit into a rectangle. And just kind of roll it up into a loaf shape. Pinch the seam on the back. Turn it over and kind of even it out a little bit. I like to tuck the ends in with my fingers. And then pull them down to stretch that top. Try to make it as even as I can. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I've just got a 8x4 loaf pan that I greased. I'm gonna put that in there. And then we're gonna do the same thing with the other one. And we are gonna let that rise for about 45 minutes or so. And once it's been rising for like a half hour, I'm going to start preheating my oven to 350. That way the oven will be ready and it can go right in. You can shape these however you want. You don't have to do a loaf. You can do a bowl or whatever, but we need sandwich bread. Not that we eat a lot of sandwiches, but I like having it and I like to use it for toast or whatever. I needed a quick bread the other day for soup, and I looked up a recipe like for just like fast bread or fast French bread or something. I made a loaf of Italian-like bread, start to finish, in an hour, and it was so good. So I will definitely have to share that one with you guys because it was easy and it was fast and it was delicious. Doug actually said to me this morning, he's like, hey, do you have any plans for the rest of that loaf? It made a really big loaf. We've actually had it a couple times. He said, do you have any plans for the rest of that loaf? I said, well, I kind of do. Why? And he said, oh, I think it'll make a really delicious French toast. I said, I agree with you, but I was going to use the rest of it and make a couple slices of garlic bread for dinner tonight. And plus, I already had breakfast thawing, so it's got a little bit of a funky thing there, but it should be fine. So there we go. I am going to cover these, put them back in a warm place, and then bake them. Okay, and last but certainly not least, I'm going to make our meatballs for dinner. We are having spaghetti and meatballs. And I have lots of sauce frozen, but I didn't have any meatballs. So I need some meatballs. And usually I have sausage and meatballs frozen right in the sauce, and I didn't. So we'll just make some meatballs, and I'll heat the sauce up and let the meatballs finish cooking in the sauce because that's how we like them. I'll bake them in the oven. My mom used to fry them, but I don't feel like dealing with that mess today. I do like them that way. I just have a pound of ground beef. I'm just doing 1 pound. Grated some onion in there, some garlic powder, a little bit of parsley. I have a very, very basic meatball recipe. It's nothing fancy. I know you can make it so much fancier with cheese and stuff. A little bit of black pepper. Generous on the salt. Some breadcrumbs. And then milk. I don't use any egg. We like a bit of a harder meatball, so I just use milk, no egg. And then I'm just gonna mix that up. I don't wanna mix it too much because you can make the meat tough, but you need to get everything incorporated, and that needs some more breadcrumbs. I don't really have any measurements because my mom never did. We just did it by feel. And that feels good. That's it. That's all I do for my meatballs. They're going to get most of their flavor by cooking in the sauce. So I'm just going to ball them up. And I like to cook them on a broiler pan because then any fat just kind of, they don't lay in the fat. It goes right through. Although this is pretty lean meat. This is the Butcher Box ground sirloin. I think it's 93.7 or 90.10. Grass-fed, grass-finished, so it's pretty good. So I am just going to finish rolling these out. I can generally get about 10 meatballs, depending on how big I make them, to 1 pound of ground beef is my general rule. But like I said, sometimes I'm very generous and I make them bigger. So we'll just have to wait and see. And then I'm going to bake them in the oven at 350 for about 20-25 minutes, and about halfway through cooking, I'll just turn them with tongs just to get all the sides brown. And then if I was making fresh sauce today, I'd add them to the sauce and let them cook in the sauce for a long time. But I had some of my homemade sauce already in the freezer. So I'm gonna heat that slowly and put the meatballs in it and just let that heat for a while, and it'll be fine. That seems to be my mantra lately. It'll be fine. What do we got here? 6, 7, 8. Yeah, about 10. So back in the day when we used to have so many, it just seemed like there was constantly, you know, graduation parties and whatever. And we were making, my mom always made the meatballs for meatball sandwiches and stuff, or, you know, meatballs with ziti. She kind of figured out that it's about 10 to a pound. So I miss my mom's meatballs. I cannot duplicate them. My niece Stacy can actually duplicate them really well, much better than I can. But there we go, 10 meatballs. That'll be perfect. This house is so quiet, I can't stand it. Everybody's busy. I'm busy in the kitchen, and I'll show you what else everybody's doing. Oh, I disturbed Aria. This guy is in here with the animals all cozied up, writing a paper for Christology. Christology that is due on Thursday. So look at that. I am impressed, man. He is
getting out of the way.
Getting it out of the way. And he's off tomorrow too, so I thought he'd push it off, but that's what he's doing. Let's go check on the other one. And here's this one. You can tell the bedroom's not quite as neat as the other bedroom. He is working on making a test. When is the test for these children?
It's on Tuesday.
On Tuesday. And what class is this for?
This is for world history, and I did tell them I made an open note because they're doing the STARS assessment, so their brains are going to be fried. So they do have a chance.
Well, wait, let's just say I was up here and I just took this test, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know nothing, and I rocked it, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think they'll do fine. So that is why it is so quiet in my house, because everybody's busy. I'm in the kitchen. So yeah, got my new apron on. This is the apron, you can't see, that Andrew bought me for my birthday. It's perfect for when you're wearing a dress because it's really long, but I really like it. It's comfy. It's got a cross back. I like it. So anyway, all my dishes are done. They just need to be put away. The meatballs have 2 more minutes. The bread is rising nicely, so we are doing really, really well. So the meatballs are out of the oven, and I just have them heating up in the sauce just to try to impart a little bit more flavor on there. It's only 340. So I'm just gonna leave this on low. I'll cover it and leave it on low, and I'll just let it cook for a while. Okay, these guys are ready to go in the oven. I wish they were a little bit more risen, but I'm afraid it's been 45 minutes and I don't want to overproof them, so they'll probably puff up a little bit more in the oven. And it is whole wheat bread, which does not rise as much as white bread. So let's put them in and see what happens. So while I am waiting for the bread to cook and the meatballs to heat through, I made a little snack for my 2 little scholars upstairs. Just some raw milk cheddar cheese, some apple slices, and some pretzels. Because they haven't eaten anything since brunch, so I'm sure they're a little bit hungry, exuding all that brain power. So I'm going to go deliver this to them. Then I am going to go collect eggs and then sit on my butt for about 10 or 15 minutes. Doug already collected eggs around noon, but I thought I would come out and see if there were any more. I'm waiting for these new girls to start laying, right? Right, new girls? Where's Marshmallow? There's Marshmallow. Right there, who's yet to lay an egg for us. And there is Chores, who hasn't laid yet. And of course the new babies, they haven't laid yet because they're just too young. 2 of these girls are 2 of these chickens are leaving this week. I know this isn't the best angle here. This one right here is a rooster, so he's leaving us. I don't know why this will not focus. And then the other rooster, you can't see. It's right there. He's leaving us this week. Do you have something to say? What? This is Daisy, and Daisy apparently has something to say. What do you have to say, Daisy? I know you don't like the weather. I know. I don't either. Sunny days are ahead, okay? I promise. Okay, there were 2 more out there. It was worth the trip out here in the little bit of rain. So while the guys are working and snacking, I am going to sit down and have a cup of tea. And I am having Earl Grey cream, or cream Earl Grey. I'm not sure what it is. I got it at the tea shop in Lidditz. And in there I have a half a teaspoon of organic cane sugar and 1 teaspoon of raw milk, raw whole milk. So that is what I am having for an afternoon treat. And I'm just gonna sit here and enjoy sitting down for about 10 minutes. Okay, the bread is out of the oven and looks good. I have it cooling on its side because if you do it like this, sometimes the top's heavy and it can actually not cool nice when you're doing this kind of bread. My white bread is so fluffy and light, I don't worry about that, but with this it's a little different. So I'm gonna let that cool and I'll probably give it a taste test. Sitting down to our delicious dinner, meatballs, spaghetti, well, linguine, piece of garlic bread, and a little bit of Caesar salad. Okay, winding down for the night, or should I say, whining down for the night. That was Doug's from dinner. I think he's still sipping on it. Yep. He is being so gracious as to cut up the bread for me. He does a much better job than I do. Sandy over at Life with Sandy sent this to me as a gift, this bread slicer, and it is amazing. I mean, the slices, look, they're absolutely perfect. Perfect, but Doug just does a better job. I mean, I do it, but if he's here, I have him do it. You can make nice thick Texas toast slices or regular slices. So it is so handy, and every time we use it, I think of Sandy. Huh, it rhymed. Handy Sandy. Yeah, I know. I'm losing it. Okay, sorry for the Phillies game in the background. I just wanted to show you this bread is gorgeous. Gorgeous, delicious, and nice and soft and just beautiful. So very happy with it. Well, friends, another weekend has come and gone. Hanging up my apron for the day, maybe. A long day of kitchen work, but a satisfying day of kitchen work. Now the kitchen is put to bed for the night and just is waiting for tomorrow to start all over again, to make nourishing meals for myself and my family, to keep us on track with our healthy eating and fuel our bodies. So we are just all closed down for the night and saying goodnight. I will see you all in my next video.